Hey everyone, it's Amanda from Loops and Love Crochet, and I just have a quick video tutorial for you today on this new bag pattern that I've been working on. Just wanted to show you how some of these stitches go to create this kind of cool texture in the middle of the bag here. So I've been working on rounds of back loop only single crochet, and then some fun rounds of 2 double crochet cluster stitches. So a 2 double crochet cluster is the same as double crochet 2 together or a double crochet decrease. The only difference is that we're working the stitches in the same stitch. So for a double crochet 2 together or a decrease, you'd be working in 2 separate stitches, but we're working the whole 2 double crochet cluster in the same stitch. And as you can see, they're going in between the cluster stitches from the previous round here. So I'm going to show you how that works. I've been keeping my yarn balls attached inside of my bag here as a little trick, and I've just been pulling up the color whenever I need it here. So as you can see, I have a little line of yarn inside where I've just pulled up the color as I needed it. And this is inside the bag, so it's not bothering me, but as an alternative, if you want, you can cut the yarn and reattach it whenever you're going to be using it. So next I'm going to be using my cream colored yarn. So I'm on the last back loop only single crochet stitch of this round here, and I'm going to be changing colors to my cream yarn. So I'm just going to complete this stitch right up to the last yarn over, and then I'm going to yarn over in my cream color here. I'm going to pull that nice and tight, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch through to the first single crochet stitch of the round. So there we go. All right, so we're going to chain 2 to start this round. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the same stitch as the chain 2, and then I'm going to pull up a loop. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops on my hook. And then I'm going to yarn over again and insert my hook into the same stitch and pull up a loop. So now you'll see 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So that's 1 double crochet cluster, or 2 double crochet cluster. And then we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip a stitch. So I'll skip that stitch, and then we're going to do the same thing in the next stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, insert my hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop. Now there's 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So there we go. And we're chaining 1 in between each of these 2 double crochet cluster stitches, and that's just so we have space to work the next round when we're working the cluster stitches in between the ones of the previous round. As well, we want to keep our stitch count at the same too. If we don't do those chain 1s in between, we'll be bunching the bag together. So we want to make sure it stays the same width. All right, so you're going to continue all the way around, skipping a stitch and working the 2 double crochet clusters all the way around. And I'll meet you back on the other side of the bag. Okay, so here we are back around at the end of the round of the 2 double crochet cluster stitches, and I just have 1 more 2 double crochet cluster stitch left, and then I'm going to show you how to do the color change and the join here, because each round is going to start a little bit different for these 3 cluster rounds, and that's just so that we can keep this seam here nice and straight. So you want to make sure that we're starting and ending in the same spot. So I'm going to do my last 2 double crochet cluster stitch here, and then I'm going to do the chain 1. I'm going to join in my turquoise yarn for that. So I'm going to pull it up from inside my bag, and I'm going to do my chain 1 with the turquoise, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round here. So there we go. And I'm going to pull that nice and tight. And chain 2. So there I worked my color change and I joined with a slip stitch the first stitch of the round. And then I'm going to work this round a little bit differently to start off. This round we're going to start with a chain 1 and then we're going to do our 2 double crochet cluster stitches in between each of the clusters from the previous round. So we're starting with a chain 1 this time so that we can keep our seam in the same spot here. So I'm going to do one more chain. And I'm going to yarn over and do my 2 double crochet cluster here. And I'll work another one here. So you're just working them in the spaces between each of the clusters from the previous round. And because we started this round with a chain 1, we're going to be ending it with just a 2 double crochet cluster and not with a chain 1. So your last 2 double crochet cluster is going to go right in this last space here created by our chain 1 from the last round. And then you'll be joining into the top of the chain here. So I'll show you that when we get around. And we've created a nice space here with that extra chain because we'll be using this space to work one of the double crochet clusters in the next round. Okay, so we're just going to continue on with our 2 double crochet cluster stitches all the way around the bag, and I'll meet you back at this side and I'll show you how that last cluster and join is going to go for our last color. Okay, here we are back around at the end of this second 2 double crochet cluster round, and I just have one more cluster left to go with a color change, so I'm going to show you how that works. So our last 2 double crochet cluster is going to go right into this space where we did our last chain 1. So we're going to work that cluster all the way up until the last yarn over. And then I'm going to drop my turquoise yarn and I'm just going to pull up my cream color yarn. I'm going to pull it nice and tight since I want to make sure that stitch is tight from the previous round. And then I'm going to do my last yarn over and pull through all of the loops with the cream colored yarn. And then we're going to be joining to start the next round. So instead of joining into the top of the first stitch, we're going to join into this chain area we created by starting the last round with the chain. So we're going to join just right underneath here. We're going to do a slip stitch, pull it nice and tight. And then we're going to chain 2, and then we'll work our 2 double crochet cluster stitch here. We're going to work that into the first space here. All right, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we'll just keep going all the way along, working our clusters in between the clusters of the previous round. And since we started this round with a cluster, we're going to end it with a chain 1. So we'll do a cluster and a chain 1 before we end up joining. And this is our last cluster round, and then we'll be starting more back loop single crochet stitches. So I'll meet you once again back around at the end of this round, and I'll show you how to transition back to the back loop only single crochet stitches. Okay, here we are back around at the end of the last cluster stitch round, and we're going to be changing color and joining to the first stitch of the round. So our next color we're going to be using is the blue. And I've completed my last 2 double crochet cluster stitch here, and we just need to do a chain 1 and then we're going to be joining. So for my chain 1, I'm going to be working my color change. So I'm just going to pull up my blue yarn here. I have it carried underneath, and I'm just going to join in that blue yarn and do my chain 1 in the blue. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch in the top of the first stitch here. Now, as you can see, I pulled up my yarn from inside the bag, but when I pull my cream yarn nice and tight, you're not going to see that blue yarn in between anymore. And then I'm going to chain 1, and then we're going to start our back loop only single crochet round, and I'm going to work over the yarn tail of the cream yarn just because we're all finished with it now. So you're going to do back loop only single crochet the whole way around the bag. So make sure you work in the back loop only of the cluster stitches as well as in the chain one between each of the cluster stitches. So you're going to work in every single stitch back loop only. You're going to do 4 rounds of this, and then we're going to work on the handle part of the bag. So if you would like some help with doing the handle and see how that goes, that'll be coming up right next in this video. And there we go. So we'll continue working those all the way across. All right, so here we are back at the top of the bag here. And I just finished working the 4 rounds of back loop only single crochet stitches. And then I started the first round of the handle. So I've done the first 15 single crochet stitches here. And then I've made a chain of 50. And then from here, this chain of 50 is going to be one of our bag handles, and we're going to be skipping 23 stitches across the top of our bag, and then we're going to be doing single crochets in the next 33 stitches. So I'm just going to pick up my chain here, making sure that your chain is not twisted. I'm going to single crochet in the next stitch, so I'm skipping 23, so I'll be single crocheting in the 24th stitch. So you'll have 23 stitches here. And you're just going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then just double check and make sure that your chain isn't twisted, because you're going to have to work in it in the next round. And then you're going to continue on all the way around. You're doing 33 single crochet stitches, so I did 1 already. And you're going to continue all the way around to the other side of the bag. Once you're done your 33 single crochet stitches, you're going to do another chain of 50. That'll be for the other handle. So I'll continue on with my single crochet stitches here, and I'll meet you back on the other side of the bag. Welcome back. I just finished going around the top of the bag with my 33 single crochet stitches, and then I've done my chain of 50 here for my second handle. And then we're just counting our 23 stitches across the top of the bag again, and then we're going to single crochet in the 24th stitch. And I've already counted mine out off camera. So single crochet in that next stitch, and then just double check and make sure that your chain is not twisted. And then you're going to continue on and single crochet in the last 22 stitches of the bag. So you're just going to go all the way around to the end. And then once you get to the end, you're going to join the last stitch to the first stitch with a slip stitch. And then you're going to work a few more rounds of single crochet around the top of the bag, including each stitch along the chain. And that's going to make your handle thicker and sturdier. So we're almost around here. All right, so there we go. We're joining the last stitch of the first one with a slip stitch. Just going to pull it nice and tight. And then we're back around at the one side of our bag where we started. And we're just going to single crochet in each stitch here, and then we're going to go along single crocheting in each stitch along the handle, and then all the way around the rest of the top of the bag, along the other handle, and then all the way back to the start. And you're just going to repeat that a few more times, or until the handle is as thick as you'd like it to be. And then your bag will be all finished. You can weave in your ends and you'll be all good to go. I hope you liked this pattern. I hope you liked this video tutorial and found it helpful. You can find more free patterns, including this one, on my blog, loopsandlovecrochet.com. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow Loops and Love Crochet on Instagram and on Facebook. Thanks for watching.